to Sports Talk with PlayerAgent3. My next guest, in my humble opinion, he's one of the most prolific shooters the ACC has ever seen. A true charlatan, a former Wake Forest Deacon assassin, Mr. Justin Gray. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well, Miguel, man. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, man. I knew this day was coming. My first question for you, man, is what are you doing in Europe right now?
So my wife, I played 12 years in Europe. I have a wife and I have 3 kids, but my wife and my son is here. She's Belarusian. I played my last 4.5 seasons out this way. And just trying the visa process of them getting over to this hassle, then with coronavirus. But we had time together. I spent a season, coaching, and they went through it without them. So it was hard. So now it's just valuable. Nothing like spending time with your people. So here until either that happens, they're able to come over, or I have to go back and start working.
Okay, all right. So listen, man. It must be something in the water, man, in Charlotte, man, because Charlotte has become this basketball hotbed, man. What's going on down in Charlotte?
Man, in my opinion, it's been that way.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can go back even before, obviously my time with Jeff. You got guys, Jeff McGinnis, got Junior Burroughs, those guys, James Worthy, like around that area. Gastonia claims Charlotte, so we'll let them 704 area code. We'll be in there.
Okay.
Like all those players came from there, and there's just so many players that might not be the big name, but they're making a push for our city. It's been that way for a long, long time. So, it's just humbling, one, to be able to say that, I was one of the players that had an opportunity to make it out, to go to college, to be successful, to be injury-free, and to become a pro, And I think one reason why I want to be a coach and at this level is because I have that experience, and I know how hard it is. It's like sometimes being in a bucket full of crabs. Everybody's pulling you down, and you really don't have sometimes people lifting you up. And that's who I am. My team tell you now. People, it's funny when I recruit kids now. And they're like, "Dang, coach, are you supposed to tell me that?" I'm like, no, I'm telling it to you the real way. You know what I mean? Because everybody recruits you and tells you the best thing since sliced bread until you get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now,
and then when you get there. Mm-hmm.
No, keep going. You good.
And then when you get there, it's like, all right, what have you done for me lately? You know what I mean? That's the real world. So we try to educate the guys and make sure they understand that, but also telling them it's okay. That pressure it comes with great respect. If you're a really, really good player, you want to feel that pressure.
Now you played your first 3 high school years. You played at West Charlotte High School, but then your last season you moved on to Oak Hill Academy, a la Jeff McGinnis, a la Junior Burroughs. Why did you make that move from West Charlotte to Oak Hill Academy back during that time?
Well, I actually played 2 years at West Charlotte, and then my junior and my senior year I was at Oak Hill. Okay. I made the decision just because I had seen those guys take that route and it helped them. Jeff McGinnis, we grew up in the same neighborhood, so he was the guy, like the guy around, and all we did was look up to him as we grew up and wanted to do things that he had done. And everybody was a Carolina fan because of him. And, West Charlotte at the time, we were really good. We had won the state my 9th grade year. We had Jason Parker, probably one of the best players ever in Charlotte. But I had seen every college coach. They had Jim because of him, you know, and that was something that was exciting. But I can remember taking the SAT after my sophomore year, and I was like, well, I ain't know nothing. You know what I mean? Like, because it was just in stigma of I hooped, I could get a hall pass and go to coach office. You know what I mean? Like, and then I get my report card, I had a 3.8. You know what I mean? It's like, that was just the deal. And growing up in a single parent home, my mom was not about that. Like, mom's just like, you getting it done, and you gonna do everything that they have on that list, you doing it. You know what I mean? And the fact of the matter was, my whole 10th grade year, I didn't have a math teacher. There was a substitute.
Wow.
So when mom found out that, she was like, it's the best things out there. I had all the Charlotte schools, Charlotte Christian, and Day, you know, Country, all those schools coming after me. But then I went to Nike camp, played there. Coach Steve Smith was my coach. And, you know, the connection between him and Jeff, they talked, and he was like, yeah, if you want to come up and try it out, try it out. And I went up there, and it was the best thing I've ever done. One, it got me ready for school because you're living on your own. You have to make sure you're eating, make sure you're doing your work, your laundry. You know, you on your own in the middle of nowhere, which is a little tough, but you come serious about your studies, and if you want to hoop, you know what I mean? Like, you with dudes that have all the same goals as you. Like, they just want to be pros. It wasn't even about college at the time. Like, we trying to be pros. And there was a big difference when we went in the gym and we played pickup, or we had practice, and you saw Larry Bird sitting in the gym. You know what I mean?
Different story.
Like, that's Larry Bird. Like, that's the league.
Yeah.
My junior year, we had Sagana Diop, who was the number 6 pick in the draft that year. So we had every NBA team always there. You know what I mean? Practices, games. So it was like the exposure that you had was second to none. And every single day was arguably playing better than games, because the practices were legit. We had 12 Division I athletes on the team. You know,
How would you compare that, man? Because I know when you were at Oak Hill, you played with Carmelo Anthony. How would you compare that experience versus the experience that you had at West Charlotte? Was it like apples and oranges?
In a sense, it was, just because the level of player was better, I would say. Like, we had some dudes that were Charlotte, and Curtis Withers, obviously, you know, longtime pro, like my brother, like, to hoop. But we knew when we went in that practice that we was the dude. You know what I mean? Like, you can just go at somebody, but you never knew what was going to happen in practice at Oak Hill. Like, Coach Smith would come in, and some days we just play one-on-one the entire time. Like, looking back at it now, it's like, man, I had Chad Moore, who was at the point, he was top 5 guard in the country, went to Cincinnati. Billy Eden went to Syracuse. Carew went to Kentucky. You know, like, all these dudes, like, day in, day out, like, you had to hoop. And it was like, I didn't know it, but at the time, I was proving myself every day. And that helped me as a pro. It definitely helped you in Europe, where every single day you got to prove yourself. You know what I mean? And like, that was a life skill that I don't think I would have got with Charlotte.
Yeah. So, and you put in some work at Oak Hill too, Justin. I mean, 16.4 points per game, and you were heavily recruited out of Oak Hill, man. But you chose Wake Forest University. What was behind that decision to go to Wake Forest?
Well, like, growing up in my area, you know, SEC basketball is, I mean, it's almost like a religion to a sense, where, you know, when it's ACC tournament time, they used to roll the TV in on the court, you know, and everybody wanted, everybody had a team and they were cheering for it. I wanted to play in the ACC. It almost happened to where myself, Curtis Withers, Vincent Greer, Isaiah Hunter, like we all had made a pact that we was going to UNC Charlotte. We all wanted to like put our city on the map, and we was going to do all, like, we had it. Like everybody had really good college careers. They had this man. He started getting recruited by other than Cal or somebody, and he started really putting them in his top. We was like, hold on, bro, what's going on? Once that happened, everybody was like going their own route. And then it was either between Georgia Tech, honestly, and Wake. And it was just about being close to home. I like the coaching staff. Coach Presser and them had just gotten the job 1 year before. And first thing they did when they got the job was come up to Oak Hill and visit me. I thought that meant a lot. Then just the guys that were in that class, North Carolina guys, again, there's something about being home, there's something about Charlotte, something about North Carolina basketball in general. I carried myself with a sense of pride. And I was like, look, if Carolina didn't want me, or if they said, we got Raymond Felton, you like this third guy in the, okay, that's fine. But guess what? When we play y'all, that little guy is on my shoulder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what it was. And so, like, at the end of the day, all of us had that. That's why we built something special. You know what I mean? And all it takes is one or two guys. One or two guys to switch a whole program around.
Yeah. So when you was at Wake, man, you were fortunate enough to play with the future Hall of Famer and point guard Chris Paul. How was it for you to go to Cameron Indoor Stadium, to go to the Dean Dome and have these battles with Carolina and Duke? I mean, what was that like for you?
Man, for us, it was fun. It was never any fear, any back down, any like, oh, we second tier to them. And I thought at that time they knew that.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, we playing Wake. Oh, guess what? It's about you better have your A game. You know what I mean? And it was cool because it was like we was playing against the same guys we've always played against. Yes, they have Duke on their chest, but that's the Reddick on the back. You know what I mean? That's still McCants on the back. You know what I mean? We played against these numerous times, so you're confident in yourself, just the way you carried yourself, and you knew how much you had put in. Chris was unbelievable. We had other guys, like, we just had a really good group that understood, being a star in your role. Mm-hmm. And that's something.
Mm-hmm. Did you
even as a pro, that gets you paid.
Right. Did you have a and I ask a lot of guys that have been on the show, man, that played in the ACC. Did you have a welcome to the ACC moment? It could be.
I had a welcome to college basketball, like a welcome to more so college basketball moment for me. My first game I ever played was playing against Yale, and it was at home. And I was playing pretty good. We were winning the game, and the ref, like, I always talked a little bit. If the ref called or something, it's funny because now being a coach, we had this conversation about it. The ref, and he had said something, and I was like, "Damn, this ain't high school." And as soon as I said it, he teamed me, and I was like, "Whoa, oh, chill, like chill." And so, and I walked off, and I tried to like take the long route, so I go straight to the bench. The coach came over, and I was like, "What did you say?" I was like, "All I said was, damn, this is not high school." And he said, "You know what, son? It's not. Sit your ass down."
Wow. So that was it.
So like that was cool. But as far as hooping, no, I played. I mean, in high school, we played against LeBron twice. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like any game was big. Like you had played where literally they had the guy in high school on Sports Illustrated the week before you play him.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that was crazy back then. Now you created a buzz, man. Your freshman season at Wake. Did that freshman after your freshman season, man? Did that boost your confidence that where you said, you know what, I can do this. I can do this on this level.
Yeah, most definitely. I sort of carried myself with that sort of confidence all the time. Even like playing, like I said, at Oak Hill, like everybody used to talk about Melo, but I knew that I could have 30 just as well as he could have 30, you know. And playing in the ACC, you know you have to play every night. I mean, just to think back of the names that was on the all-freshman team, at the moment, I didn't think of it like that because I thought of myself as one of those guys. But when you think back, like Chris Bosh, J.J. Redick, Raymond Felton, Sean May, myself, like that was the freshman team. And they had all those pros that was in that class. So, you know, you put yourself in there and it's a blessing. It's a tale of all the work that you put in, but definitely the confidence was high.
Mm-hmm. Now, your sophomore season, man, Chris Paul came aboard. And, you know, he kind of took some of the limelight away from you. Did you use that as motivation, or did you guys feed off each other, man, to make the team better?
Yeah, I think one misconception about Chris is like that he's selfish or he's a bad teammate, or, you know, like the guy wants to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like all of the men, you know what I mean? Like we all wanted to take Wake to Final Four and to be ranked number one. So it wasn't really about individual things. We knew that if we won, that people would see us. You know what I mean? So that was a good job by our coaching staff, one. Then we had good guys at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I mean, my sophomore year, I was first team all ACC. So it wasn't like I took a back seat. You know what I mean? So I played my game, and the funny thing about it, like I don't know if people know this, but Chris wasn't supposed to start. Like the game at Madison Square Garden, he was PG2 on the depth chart going to New York. He only started because Teron Downey appendix. They had to go to have an emergency surgery to take out his appendix like a day or two before the game. And the coach was like, you know what? See you in. And then all it took to move and blow it. Everybody else, the rest is history. Coach was like, well, I think we're gonna play 3 guards.
Okay. Man, your best season, man. I think it was 18 points a game, man. And you're in the record books at Wake. You put in some major work at Wake, and you know you're one of the greatest players that played at Wake Forest University. Did the NBA start to creep in your mind your best season at Wake, or was it something that was on your mind when you first stepped foot on campus?
I don't think it was. I think it's something that crept in. I don't think I thought about going to the NBA like before I got there. You know what I mean? Like I knew I wanted to be a pro. I knew, you know, that was always my dream. But I always lived in the moment, so to speak. So it was like, this is where we at right now. I'm about to enjoy this and hoop. And, you know, it wasn't until probably my junior year, the year I almost left. Like literally, I was like a foot out the door. And I chose to come back. One, because I enjoyed college. You know, my time there was fun. I knew I was really close to accomplishing something that nobody had done in my family. And that was important to me. You know, and for me to be able to be the first one in my college, in my family to graduate from college, it changed the pattern of my family. You know what I mean?
Right.
My cousins at the time called me my government name, Justin Gray. Like, that's how they looked at it. I'd be like, bro, like, you're my cousin. Like, we're family. You can call me whatever you want. Don't call me my whole name out in public. And like, but that's how they looked at me. My bad.
Man, you good.
But that's how they looked at me. And so for me to be able to not only finish school but still become a pro, and then we started a fund for my little cousins. Like, if you don't get a scholarship, guess what? You can go to school. We got you. You know what I mean? Right. And that was something that was important for me. Something that was important for our family, and yes, the NBA crept in later, but it wasn't like a
end all be all
go for me.
Yeah. So you go undrafted, man, and you know, like I said, man, you're in the record books at Wake, and you know, you put in some major work. Did that affect your psyche not being drafted?
Of course it did, because the guys that I was just playing with in the ACC that I would go at and, you know, play really well, they were in the league. I mean, Chris was rookie of the year.
Yeah.
You know, like all those people. And then I would come home in the summers, go pro, and I would get picked first. You know what I mean? We was playing with dudes in the league. You know what I mean? So it was like, it came to a point to where I knew it just had to be the right situation for me. But it's funny now when I watch the NBA now, it's like, oh, no way I could play in this league. Because it's such a shooter's league. It's wide open. And I tell guys all the time, like, this is the best way to play. I've been telling people 3 is more than 2 for a long time. Like, why take a pull-up jumper when you can step 1 foot back and get 3 for the same, time?
Yeah, right. But at the end of the day, man, you went across the water, you went overseas, man, and you had a pretty successful career. I think 12 years or so you played overseas, man. Talk about that experience a little bit.
It wasn't all, I tell my guys all the time, it's not all peaches and cream when you go over. I think it was a little bit easier for me because of all of the success that I had at a high level of college basketball. So I go over and, like, I get a pretty decent job, but I know guys that are they go there, there. And I was like, you really must love basketball. Like, if you going over there and you don't really love it, and you're just doing it because, I'm tall, I can hoop, what else am I going to do? It might not work out for you. Because there's going to come times where you get kicked down, you get beat up, you think you deserve more than you're getting. But at the end of the day, when you stand on that, me, my first Belgium, I literally out my back because all you do is get home and work out and go to a free agency camp or go to summer league. I was so wrong, and I think because all I wanted to do was get there and try to prove myself to get to the league. I wasn't really enjoying myself in Europe. I played well, I was making decent money, but I didn't experience anything because literally I was cool. I'm going home. You know what I mean? So that was all I was focused on. It wasn't until later on in my career where I understood it.
Did you throughout your career over in Europe, did you still have that chip on your shoulder where you wanted to prove the NBA critics wrong that you were an NBA player, or you just moved on with it, man, and just enjoyed your time playing basketball on a professional level?
Like I sort of spoke to earlier, I think earlier on, that's what I was playing for, and it wasn't fun. You know what I mean? Like, when I started playing ball when I was 5, I played because I enjoyed it. My friends played, it was something that was enjoyable. Now I was across in Europe, getting paid to do it, and it was like, I gotta do this. I gotta make sure I'm up at this time to do this and do that, and do this and do that, and do this and do that. But I wasn't enjoying the game. You know what I mean? So like, it wasn't until I realized, like, you know what, the league might not be for me, but guess what? I wanted to be a pro hooper. They paying me to hoop right now.
Right.
Like all the dudes back home, I used to fly my boys over, and they be like, bro, they treat you better here than they do at the crib. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, it is true. You know what I mean? Like, all the George Floyd stuff, that ain't going on over there in Europe. Like, you the guy. You know what I mean? And they're treating you well. And like, they're treating you honest. And so like, that stuff was fun. Like, once I really bought into being there, taking in the culture a little bit, like, I always, once it's time to hoop, I'm a competitive dude. So I'm gonna always have a little dude on my shoulder.
Right.
All the time. So
right.
in that sense, it was fun.
When did you know, man, that it was time to hang it up? Or is that window still open, or is that door still open a little bit?
Nah, I knew it was done when I don't know if you know Cody Miller McIntyre, played at Wake. He's from Concord. I'm from Charlotte, and I knew him.
Yeah, that's my client. Yeah,
like yeah. So me and Cody, I known him for a while, and we was in. I think he was in Russia. I was in Belarus. He was playing there, and like the day of the game, they have like social media posts and stuff, and there was a post up that he put on his page. And it was me and Chris in college, and it was Cody like in the second grade or something.
Wow.
And like, I looked at the picture and I was like, what? Like, this is crazy. Like, I'm about to play against Lil Coach. Like, I know Lil Coach for the longest.
Yeah.
And then we get in the hoop, and then we get out there in the game. He hit me up full court, 94 feet. And I'm like, oh my. Come on. I'm coming off they love me where I'm at. I'm collecting my paycheck. Let me do my job. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to do nothing else but my job. And then at that moment, we went to dinner that night. I talked to him. And we was flying back home to our city. And I was just like, yeah, this might be it. I still had another year on my deal.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I was like, man, I don't know if I can do it. Like, I got a son now that's 10. But at that time, he was 8 and older. Missed out on so much from them. So I think about other things in life, like what else is there? So I wanted to originally take some time off and do nothing, but I took the job away.
So you're currently, Justin, the assistant coach at Winthrop University, but you also had a stop at Wake on the coaching staff. Was that something that you always wanted to do? Once your career was over, is coach basketball?
I don't know if I would say I always wanted to be a coach. I knew I wanted to help young men that were like me. You know what I mean? I wanted to be able to give back in some sort of way, whatever that may be. Actually, at Wake, I was on the coaching staff. I was like more so in the athletic department, and they basically just, they knew my presence that I had there when I played. They wanted me to be able to come back and people see your face, and it was something that would, sort of give the jolt to the program. I enjoyed my time there, but being there, which is where I knew I wanted to be a coach. You see all these guys doing it, you saw the opportunity that they gave to young men. And just the experience that you had and I had in playing at college and playing at a high level and playing at the pro, I thought it related to the guys a lot.
Mm-hmm. Now I gotta ask you this question, man, because I think I talked to a couple of other players that played at Wake. What happened, man, to Wake Forest University basketball, man? Like, I mean, there's been a lot of down years. It's not the Wake when you and Chris Paul played. It's not the Wake when Tim Duncan played. Like, what's going on at Wake Forest University in your opinion?
Oh, I mean, I think it's a lot has to do with the turnover, coaching turnover. I mean, when you don't have a consistent guy that's there, that you can look at your program that's leading you in the right direction, you sort of get lost. I think we were a little lost. Coach Forbes, who they got now, has a great resume, great coach, and has won everywhere he's been able to recruit kids. And I think that's the big thing. Everybody puts a lot of emphasis on the X's and the O's, but believe me, it's the Johnnies and the Joes. It's the guys that win the game. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you got to get talent. So you have to be able to recruit in state. I think that was one thing when we were there. It was really, really prevalent. You got a lot of guys that understood ACC basketball that came from the area. Like you said, I grew up myself a Carolina fan. Wasn't able to go to Carolina, but I played with that chip on my shoulder every time we played them. I got a winning record against Carolina. So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how it is.
Right. So I got a couple of more questions, man, and I'm gonna let you get out of here. But I'm gonna say this name, man, and I want you to give me your thoughts. And we're gonna step away from basketball just for a second. George Floyd.
Just hurt, and it's been going on for a long, long time. And like people don't understand. Even myself, I was at a point to where I grew up and I just got comfortable with where we was at. Only way I thought I was gonna make it out was I was gonna have to hoop. You know what I mean? Like I was either gonna hoop because all I seen in front of me was hoopers, football players, or people doing the wrong things. You know what I mean? And like for George Floyd to lose his life the way he did, so many that has happened to, and it's like it's enough. Like when is enough? Is like why can't we get past that? And why can't we understand police brutality is happening that first? Like once we all admit that, then we can start to talk about how to do it, but and to fix things. But until we freaking acknowledge that, the problem is going to be the same. You know what I mean? So being a college coach, it's good at this time. I'm excited about being in this time because I have a voice. You know what I mean? I'm leading some young men. I've always had a voice. I've always speak up for what's right and what's wrong. Yes, right now we're talking black and white and how it's always the brown, but it's about what's right and what's wrong. Like at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Exactly. The Drew
I wouldn't want it to happen to nobody, but guess what? It's happening to us.
Right. Exactly. The Drew Brees comments. Did you catch wind of that?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, Steven Jackson said it the best, man. Like he's a clown, and I hate to say it, but he's a clown. That's the truth. Because he's taking it out of subject. Like you tried to kneel peacefully. Like that was something that oh yeah, that's cool. Like let's kneel and everybody do it. It's a big sporting event. It's the NFL. It can be a point of everybody uniting and doing it. It's non-violent, but like to think it's about, of course, our military fault. Yes, but that's not what it wasn't about. It wasn't intent. The kneeling wasn't intent for the military. You know what I mean? So I think like the biggest thing is people always want to speak first. You know what I mean? And him speaking, it's really listening and taking in what we're talking about. and what's up. You know what I mean? So like it's almost a sort of privilege. Like he's looking at it, and that's what it comes back to, white privilege and all those things. Like it's not really bothering them in a sense, so they can't understand it.
Right. What's next for Justin Gray, man?
Oh man, like just right now enjoying being a dad, being a husband, obviously being a college coach. Obviously for my own program. With it is we were really fortunately we couldn't go to the tournament last year. You know, with us winning the Big South Conference, but it's at home for me, and I think that's really, really special. It's Rock Hill, but it's literally I live at my house. You know what I mean? Like I'm driving and going back to my bed every night. So in that sense, it's a blessing to be there. Just looking forward to what's next, and that's just making sure that I'm raising our young men to be young men. You know what I mean? And like with all this that's going on, making sure they have they have a voice. Two, one thing I do want to, I don't know, we have a big meeting coming up with our guys, but you think in that meeting is going to be voting. All young men, everybody's able to vote, making sure that the guys that have ballots, that they get their ballots filled and they vote. Because that's one way I've always heard once when I was in school at Wade, that they talk about us going to vote. You know what I mean? It was just about do your work, come ready to hoop and do this. But nah, like we supposed to be raising young men. This is a part of the band and it's in nature. Making sure you have a voice that's heard. How do we do that? We vote.
Right.
So that's something that's right there on the cusp. That's next for me. Okay. Last thing, man. I gotta ask you this, man. You gotta give me your honest opinion, man. Who is the GOAT of Charlotte? I mean, of the time that I grew up, I mean, obviously Jeff McGinnis was in my eyes. I still talking to him now, and I call him the OG. Like, he embodied everything that we wanted to be. You know what I mean? He went to Carolina. First, he went to Oak Hill. Well, went to West Charlotte, one state. Went to Oak Hill, national championship. Went to Carolina, had a great career. Played in the league for a long, long time, and like that was a guy for me. You know, obviously people before, I never seen James Worthy play, or all these guys, but either him. He don't count, man. He's from Gastonia. It wasn't like I know, but it's crazy about Jeff. It's like, it's not like he killed. It wasn't like Jeff was like killing or going and doing this and doing that. It was just like my guy did it, and he did it his way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like from the CBA to keep going to get in the league, staying there, like it's just a journey. And then the stuff he did for the city, like the program that he used to run was undeniable. Like it was one of the best, and it's never been the same since he stopped doing it. So we got guys that obviously, I don't really claim Steph from Charlotte, but he is from Charlotte. But I don't know. He moved a lot of places. Yeah, he went to high school there. Yeah. He went to high school there, but I think he really claim that. He didn't come there until like what, middle school or high school or something like that. He didn't. That's when he moved to Charlotte. But I appreciate that, man. You and your family, man. Y'all stay safe, man. And we definitely got to do this again when you come back. When you come back, hopefully we can we can do it face to face. Would love to get you back on the show. We can talk about some more things, man. But again, I appreciate you, man. Much success to you and your basketball program. And I'm sure I'll be talking to you pretty soon. Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate it. Stay safe. Be blessed, my guy. All right, man. Sports Talk, Player Agent 3.